Picture this. You're alone in the woods. It's dark, really dark. Something starts moving just outside your camp. You can't see it yet. You can only hear it. Would you rather that sound belong to a wolf or a dog? Almost everyone picks the dog. Here's the strange part. 20,000 years ago, you probably wouldn't have had that choice at all. Dogs, as we know them, barely existed yet. For most of these two animals' shared history, they were nearly identical. So somewhere along the way, one line got crossed. One animal ended up sleeping at the foot of our beds. The other still makes something ancient in us go on alert. The old explanation was simple. We caught wild wolves. We tamed them. Dogs were the reward. That story is mostly wrong. Here's the question I want you to hold on to for the rest of this video. What was the one change that actually separated dogs from wolves? Spoiler, it wasn't one change. It was several. And each piece only tells part of the story. Dogs are not descended from the wolves alive today. That surprises people. It surprised scientists too. Ancient DNA tells a different story. Somewhere between 20 and 40,000 years ago, one wolf population split in two. Neither branch is the parent of the other. Both descended from a common ancestor before splitting onto separate evolutionary paths. One branch stayed wild. It became the modern gray wolf. The other drifted toward the edges of human settlements. Eventually, it became the first dogs. Same starting point, two completely different futures. But that split doesn't explain why one branch stopped fearing us. Genetics tells us where, not why. For that, we go back to the fire. Smoke rises from a campfire. Hunters drag back the carcass of something large. Children are asleep near the coals. Bones and scraps get tossed into the dark, just past the firelight. Eyes are watching from out there. Most belong to wolves too nervous to come any closer. Fear keeps them at a distance. Distance keeps them hungry. A few, though, were built differently. Calmer, less reactive. Curious instead of afraid. Those wolves crept close enough to eat. Night after night. Camp after camp. Across thousands of years. The calm ones ate. They survived. They had pups. The nervous ones often didn't get the chance. Nobody planned this. The forest ran the experiment for us. And we know this kind of filtering actually works because it's been tested. Not on wolves. On foxes. In 1959, a Soviet geneticist named Dmitry Belyaev started breeding wild silver foxes. He selected for exactly one trait: how calm each fox stayed around a human. 6 generations later, those foxes were wagging their tails, whining when handlers left the room. Then something nobody expected happened. Their bodies started changing too. Ears drooped, tails curled. White patches showed up in their fur, the way spots show up on a Dalmatian. Nobody bred for any of that. Belyaev only selected for calm behavior. So temperament alone can reshape an animal's body. Which raises the obvious question. If it can rewrite fur and ears, what else got rewritten underneath? That explains behavior. It doesn't explain what was happening at a genetic level. Researchers weren't looking for friendliness. They were looking for differences. Anything that separated dog DNA from wolf DNA at all. One tiny stretch kept showing up. Dogs had it. Wolves didn't. That stretch sits in a genomic region also linked to something in humans called Williams-Beuren syndrome, a rare condition where people are unusually trusting of strangers, often bonding with them almost instantly. Researchers found changes in that same region in dogs. Those changes are thought to contribute to dogs' unusually social behavior, though scientists are still working out exactly how. It's not that dogs have the syndrome itself. It's that a related genomic switch appears to nudge their behavior in a similar direction. In wolves, that region looks different, and social behavior stays cautious. Guarded. Exactly what survival in the wild demands. In dogs, something about that region shifts, and trust seems to become closer to a default setting than an exception. The friendliness isn't just learned. There's a genetic fingerprint behind it. But genetics still doesn't explain the feeling. The specific moment where you look at a dog, and something clicks between you, that part doesn't live in DNA. It happens in real time. If you've ever caught your dog just staring at you, for no reason, For way too long, that moment has been happening in some form for 20,000 years. In 2015, researchers measured a hormone called oxytocin, the same one released between a mother and a newborn during bonding. They tested two groups, dog owners and people who'd hand-raised wolves since birth. After 30 minutes of interaction, the dog owners and their dogs both spiked in oxytocin, specifically during moments where the two locked eyes. The wolves never made eye contact. Not once. No hormone spike. Nothing. Dogs found a shortcut into a bonding system nature built for parents and infants. And somewhere in their evolution, they borrowed it for themselves. Temperament. Genetics. A hijacked hormone loop. The story still isn't complete. And the next piece is the one that surprised scientists the most. Researchers at the Wolf Science Center in Vienna ran a simple test. 2 animals. 1 rope. Both ends had to be pulled at exactly the same moment, or the food stayed out of reach. The prediction seemed obvious. One of these animals had spent thousands of years working beside humans. Surely that meant better teamwork. They were completely wrong. Dogs failed. Almost every time. Wolves solved it. Again and again with barely any training at all. It has nothing to do with intelligence. Wolves survive in tight, cooperative family packs, where teamwork means the difference between eating and starving. Dogs evolved somewhere else, alone, picking through scraps, where getting close to another dog usually meant competition, not partnership. Dogs didn't lose their ability to cooperate. They became less dependent on cooperating with each other and increasingly wired to cooperate with us instead. One last piece, and it's the oldest one. In Bonn, Germany, archaeologists found a burial roughly 14,000 years old. 2 humans. Beside them, a dog. In 2018, scientists re-examined that dog's teeth. What they found changed how this discovery was understood. The enamel showed the puppy had survived 3 separate, near-fatal bouts of canine distemper between 5 and 6 months old. A disease that almost always kills young dogs. For it to survive, someone had to feed it by hand. For weeks, keep it warm through the worst of it. Clean up after it day after day, while it was too sick to do anything useful for anyone. There was no reward waiting on the other side of that. No hunting, no guarding, no practical use at all. Just someone 14,000 years ago refusing to let a puppy die. That may have been the moment a human stopped seeing an animal and started seeing a companion worth choosing over every other creature in that forest. People are still making that same choice today, carrying dogs into emergency vet clinics at 3 in the morning, for animals that will never hunt or guard or work a single day in their lives. Every dog you've ever known, a Chihuahua, a Great Dane, the mutt down the street, is carrying the legacy of those first fearless wolves. We now have every piece of the mystery, so why did none of it ever happen for wolves? Imagine raising a wolf pup from the moment its eyes open. It follows you everywhere, plays with you, it falls asleep curled up beside you. For a while, it actually feels like it might work. Then it grows up. Wolves are built around a rigid hierarchy. An adult wolf doesn't experience a human as family. It experiences you as a rank to challenge. That same playful pup starts testing boundaries that aren't playful anymore. Dogs don't do that. They don't wake up one day and decide you're a rival. They don't suddenly stop trusting the people who raised them. Thousands of years of small, compounding changes quietly erased that possibility in dogs. Wolves never got any of them. Their predatory instincts stay fully intact, the entire stalk, chase, grab, kill sequence still switched on. Their window to bond with a human at all slams shut around 6 weeks old. And even a wolf raised by a loving family from birth, if left without contact for even a short stretch, reverts straight back to wild behavior. Dogs never carry any of that risk. So what was the one change that separated dogs from wolves? There wasn't one. It was calm temperament, favored generation after generation. A genetic switch that nudged trust toward becoming the default. A hormone loop borrowed from motherhood itself. An instinct that turned away from competing with their own kind and toward cooperating with us. And, underneath all of it, someone willing to keep a dying puppy alive for no reason at all. Humans didn't choose dogs because they were stronger. Wolves were stronger. We didn't choose them because they were better at working together. Wolves were better at that too. We chose dogs because they could live beside us, trust us, read us, bond with us in a way nothing else in the wild ever had. That was the trait that mattered most. The next time a dog looks at you, you're not looking at a tamed wolf. You're looking at the descendants of the wolves that took one step closer to the fire and never looked back.